On today's show, the San Diego Padres versus the Los Angeles Dodgers, rivalry of the century, dare I say the most important series of our lifetimes. The fate of the world is in our hands. And Jake Garegnani of CBS 8 Sports is joining the show to talk about it. And wait, Michael King's injured too? Oh, you got to be kidding me.
You are Locked On Padres, your daily San Diego Padres podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of Locked On Padres podcast, which is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day for Friday, August 15th. As always, I'm your host with sometimes the most, Javier Reyes, and I've been covering this team for almost 6 years now, not just for this podcast, but also various other outlets, including justbaseball.com, chief among them. Today's episode, guys, is brought to you by 5 Hour Energy Transfusion. Go to 5hourenergy.com today and use my promo code LOCKEDONGolf to receive 20% off your order. Only valid through September 30th. Order transfusion flavored 5 Hour Energy shots today. And today's episode is a special one. It's a good old fun Friday. It is not just me, who you can follow on Twitter/X and Blue Sky on the socials at Javipeno, JAVIIPENO, but also my main man, Jake Garegnani, sports anchor for CBS 8 Sports San Diego. He's been on the show a few times, and we like doing this. We've been doing this for a few weeks now. Just having you on the show, talking about what you've heard and your insight as someone who actually is in San Diego. You've got the cool, stuff behind you. He's in the office as we speak. And as we're about to talk about this, it's going to be a joyous episode. And guess what? We actually were going to record before the news broke that Michael King is heading back to the IL with apparently left knee inflammation, right? We were going to record before that, and instead I said, "Oh, no. Let's wait a little bit. I want Jake to have more time." And I guess that was the right decision for better in a lot of ways, man. So how are you doing, though?
It was a wonderful decision in the sense of I had a show to do for CBS, and I said, all right, I'm going to go down and do that show, and then we'll do it afterwards. And then while on that show, the Michael King news broke. And then obviously you and I get a chat about it, which is it's interesting, man. My first thought that came to my head after hearing that he was headed back to the IL was, man, what a gut punch after you've climbed to the top of the NL West. But Mr. Positive here, the team went almost 3 months without Michael King in the starting rotation, and they lead the National League West. He threw 2 innings, and they lead the National League West. So it's not like this team can't do it without Michael King. I flipped and I go, okay, you know what? Just get the big righty squared away, ready to go for October. That to me is all that matters at this point. Get him ready to roll for the postseason. If this team's going where we all think they can go, he'll be a key part of that postseason run. But at this point, look, they've won without him in the regular season. They continue to do that. They can continue to do that, especially with this bullpen. So yes, gut punch, massive deal. I don't know. I don't think so.
Well, it's left knee inflammation. So it wasn't the usual as people who aren't doctors, but we are baseball fans, and it isn't the usual, oh my God, which is usually when you hear elbow inflammation or when you hear elbow soreness. Those are the two that when I hear them, I'm like bracing for the worst, right? So it wasn't that. To be able to on the cynical side for me is just the Padres over the years, and I think a lot of fans can relate, a lot of listeners and viewers might be able to relate, that they've been a little bit weird over the years with some of their injuries, right? I think that this all started for me, this kind of injury thing, probably with the Dinelson Lamet, Mike Clevinger days, when those were not viewed. Maybe they knew it, maybe they didn't know as much at the time. I'm not saying the Padres are lying, but Mike Clevinger, you're just going to need a scope. Dinelson Lamet, it's okay, we're going to rehab and whatnot. Both of those guys, one of them got Tommy John surgery, Mike Clevinger, and then the other one foregoed it and basically slowly fell out of baseball entirely. And then Mike Clevinger ends up getting moved on, right? We move on from him and all that stuff. So I understand that this team has had some history with all this stuff. And Michael King has a mutual option for next year, which I don't remember the last time a mutual option has ever been taken, right? So that's an interesting wrinkle in this, which is if Michael King is really, really hurt and we don't realize it just yet, does that mean they might be like, okay, we'll take you, let's have you back here for $20 million. Then maybe you could go get paid next year. And also in general, it is a problem because I imagine my guy is going to want to rush back right before he could potentially be getting a new contract this offseason. So those are the other factors to consider. But what you said is right on point. In terms of just being a good team, this has changed too much, right? And we trust this Padres infrastructure, right? We're going to trust Randy Vasquez just got recalled. He did throw, as you mentioned before we started recording, he did throw some innings on Sunday. So is he going to be fully ready? Is he going to be this Friday starter? I think he will be. He's a guy that usually goes 3 to 4. So that does change things significantly for this series. For a guy who doesn't have the best peripherals in the world, has been surviving throughout the season, but with a bunch of trickery. Can he do that against LA? We'll have to see. But Michael King, man, it's a gut punch, but it's a soft gut punch for now. We still haven't heard any more updates. We're recording this on a Thursday evening, basically. So if anything else arises, please feel free to leave your comments and takes on that. But we'll have to see, man, because that is easily, if healthy, the number 1 starter for this team come playoffs.
Well, yes and no. I mean, the way Nick Pavetta's been throwing the ball, it's almost hard to take the ball out of his hand and say that guy wouldn't do it, just considering the amount of time. Let's say Michael had come back and this setback didn't happen. You would obviously have to see how he threw going into the postseason, but I'll take Pavetta game 1 any day of the week right now.
Sure.
As well. I think, again, to my point earlier, what makes it, I guess, if you want to say it, a little bit softer of a blow is that this team has proven they've won without him and that they'll continue to do that. It's interesting that it's completely and happily interesting that it's completely different from the nerve issue that he apparently, was going through for those 3 months. So I totally hear what you're saying about the history of the Padres and an interesting way they've handled injuries with the 2 guys you mentioned, the Colin Rays of the world. Like it's for sure happened. The fact that these are 2 almost completely separate, what seems to be separate issues makes me feel that it is just soreness, but time will tell. Again, I think it's just about getting King right for the postseason at this point. And, the Padres will probably take another look at JP Sears at one point. Randy Vasquez has done just enough to be just fine, as you mentioned, surviving wicked ways throughout this year. And he can do it even more now with this bullpen. So yeah, tough blow, but again, I just don't think it's the end of the world for the Padres, they're a team that's just absolutely a wagon right now.
Absolutely true. And they face probably the most important series, dare I say, that they've had regular season wise in a long time. Just everybody keep in mind what I mentioned before, the free agency. That's the bigger concept things to keep an eye out that we'll talk about in the offseason. But for now, it's Dodgers Padres. Dare I say, I'm not even going to say dare I say, it is the best rivalry in baseball as of right now. And we got to talk about it. We got to talk about the pitching matchups and the fact that we're in first place, man. It's great. We got to talk about it. But before we do that, folks, we got to talk about our friends over at 5 Hour Energy with the 5 Hour Energy Transfusion. It brings the bold grape, ginger, and lime flavor of your favorite golf drink, minus the alcohol, into a quick, energizing shot. Whether you're seeking birdies or just making memories with friends, this one's a hole-in-one for your energy game. And let's be honest, some days on the course or off it, you just need that extra boost to stay sharp and energized, man. Jake knows what I'm talking about. What's the wildest shot you've ever made, Jake?
I had a hole in one time. The 3rd hole, Tecolote Canyon, 7-iron going in, man, on Super Bowl Sunday. I can't remember the exact year, but it was I'll have to look it up. But yeah, that was the wildest one I had.
How about that? And you know what you need to have great shots like Jake? You need the 5 Hour Transfusion, folks. So what are you waiting for? Golf is all about good times with good people and good flavors. Of course, the grape ginger lime flavor gives you the best parts of your clubhouse go-to without chasing down the beverage cart. If you go to 5hourenergy.com today, that is the literal number 5, hourenergy.com. You can use my promo code LOCKEDONGolf to receive 20% off your order. Offer is only valid until September 30th on one order and cannot be used with other promotions. The code is also not good on subscription orders, but whether you're meeting up with friends or trying to turn 18 holes into 36, get the energizing boost you need to power through. Order transfusion flavored 5 Hour Energy shots today. And just like that, everybody, we are back, thriving and vibing here into the second segment of the Locked On Padres podcast for Friday, August 15th. Me and my man Jake, we just talked about Michael King. The King. He's hurt. We hate to see the King.
Those were 2 great innings, weren't they? We'll always have those 2 innings.
They really were. You got to play the Green Day song now. After that, right? So seriously, though, with Michael King injured, though, that changes some things. But what it doesn't change is the importance of this series. At the time of this recording, the Padres are in first place deeper into the season. This isn't just the cutesy thing that you fire off for easy Twitter likes, where the Padres win the first game of the season, the Dodgers lose. You say the Padres are in first place in the NL West, right? Nothing like that. We're deep into the season, one game above the Dodgers, and the Dodgers have been flying. They just got swept by the Angels of all teams. Mookie Betts is a shell of himself as of late. Well, the whole season, really, but as of late, he's been pretty bad, right? This has been a team that has looked very vulnerable. And then you look at the Padres, only positive vibes. The bullpen has been awesome. Jake was really bullish. I think we're 2-3 weeks now from the trade deadline, whatever it was really bullish on the Mason Miller move. And while it started off a little bit rough, man, watching that guy pitch is awesome. So, dude, but before we even get into some of the specifics in the pitching matchups, do you think, I mean, I posed it before, but is this the most important regular season series this Padres franchise has had in what? Let's at least start from just since the pandemic started, right?
Yeah, and look, I think there's a couple ways you look at it. Of course, it's a massive series. When you talk about how long it's been since the Padres had a lead in the NL West this late into the season, you go back decade, right? Plus. And so it has been forever since the Padres had an important series against a team right on their tail in the NL West this late into the year. So that, factually speaking, makes it the most important series they have played in that amount of time. Now, that being said, I'm curious to know if the players, like, to me, I don't think the players view it that way. As weird as that sounds, I think it honestly is. They go out there and they play baseball, and it sounds so boring and it sounds so cliche as something they would say. But I genuinely think the reason they were so good when they could have fallen apart early in the year is that they carry that mindset, right? You think back to the early season Dodger series when they kind of got beat. I mean, not kind of, they got beat up on by the Dodgers early in the year. There were multiple times this Padres team kind of could have folded in and you know, just not, I don't want to say given up, but you know, mailed it in a little bit, if you will. And they have that mindset to keep pushing. And that's why I don't think in a sense that the players are going to be like, oh, this is the biggest series we've ever played in my lifetime. You know, if I've been on the Padres for this amount of time. So it's huge. And for the fans, it's going to feel huge, and the atmosphere is going to be huge. And all of that is going to be so much fun. And I promise you, Javi, the Dodgers don't love the fact that the Padres are coming into Chavez Ravine leading the NL West. They're going to be fired up, even though they have been playing horrible baseball. In fact, Javi, since July 3rd, the Dodgers and the Colorado Rockies share the same record. That's how bad the Dodgers have been recently. Oh, and really, most of the NL West outside the Padres have been bad. It's been a perfect storm of AJ Preller dominating the deadline, getting this team perfectly right, and other teams not making moves or selling and falling apart. And that's why the Padres are in this situation.
Oh, God, not the minus 300 run differential Rockies, the historically bad Rockies. Oh, those poor. I love Colorado so much. I got to visit that place at some point. Love y'all. Love you, Paul Holden of Locked On Rockies. Go listen to that if you want to hear how he frankly survives. I don't know how he's doing it. To be honest with you over there. Like, how do you even do it? He's just talking about like Brett Doyle's defensive runs and all that stuff. But yeah, I agree, man. I agree. I think that, but I actually. Are we sure the players don't have and this is the reason I say that. I do think that it's a little bit lighter, but I think when they play and this game is in motion, I'm wondering because every time these two teams face, something kicks off. You might forget, but Tatis got hit by 2 pitches or 3, I think it was his last appearance. And then the Padres hit Shohei Ohtani, one of them maybe intentionally. I don't know. It's hard to venture. And then one of them absolutely intentionally. I don't care what Robert Suarez says. You should have just owned it and been like, yeah, I did that. I know he can't for a bunch of different reasons, but so it has been spicy each of the last few times, right? Even had the regular season when Profar was here, right? Where Will Smith called him irrelevant. Then they had the Sunday Night Baseball thing where he cleared the bases and then the Sunday Night ESPN broadcasters had to pretend, you know, that they, you know, cared, I guess, because the Dodgers weren't winning, so it didn't matter. But you know, in all seriousness, it's the intensity, man. Like, I know so many people that are like, dude, I can't wait. This is awesome. It's really weird that the Padres and Dodgers are so spread apart in the schedule this year. Is basically we had to wait like a month and a half for the first one, and then we had to wait more for even the next one. So it's really, really fascinating. But if the Padres get like a big series win here, I mean, we're looking at they've won the division the last 11 of 12 years. And you can't say that that isn't a big deal. And is a big deal, not just for the Padres, but the city of San Diego. It's fantastic stuff. And I'm really curious to see how it pans out, man.
No, and you make a wonderful point that I you clarified for me that I like is that when these games get going, yeah, the intensity ramps up. I mean, I think
like walking in, they're like, all right, time to play. And then it's like, Oh, Kershaw, I know you. You know what I mean? Like,
What makes this rivalry so good is it feels like one of those old school rivalries where the teams genuinely do not like each other. That you don't really get a lot of that this day and age. These two teams genuinely don't like each other. The managers do not like each other. The players really do not like each other. The fan bases hate each other. So, I mean, everything about this rivalry is what is kind of old school, what is fun. It's great for baseball. And when it gets going, yes, the intensity is going to be through the roof. And to your point, I'm not trying to blow anything out of proportion here, but if they go on to win the West, it's going to be massive, a massive statement for what Peter Seidler, for what Ron Fowler, for what AJ Preller have been trying to build, saying we want to be a team that can compete with a team that's won 11 to 12 division titles, a team that really has an opportunity to win a World Series. That team is all of these things. And an emphatic statement would be to win the West in a year nobody thought you could do it, let alone be 9 games back in early July.
Absolutely. And we've seen with some of these Padres, like some of them a little bit more, not rage, not hatred, but a little bit more energy towards this Dodgers team. I still haven't forgotten Jeremiah Strata unfollowing Roki Sasaki immediately after the news dropped. That man is a Padres guy at heart. And then I'm curious, like, will the new guys will they be swept up in the energy? Will they bring up Ramon Laureano be squaring up with Teoscar Hernandez? I'm just fan fictioning now, but it is true that it's always good. Even though they got trounced by the Dodgers in that last series, it was a good series that people might forget. They ran away with the second game. They scored some more innings, and I think it was the second game. The first game was like an extra innings. I'm pretty sure it went to like the ninth. It was really close. They always have these good games that are very Yankees, Red Sox, early 2000s, which a lot of people have said. So we'll see. Like, I'm just curious to see how the new additions are kind of how they act towards this, right? So it should be a lot of fun, man. I can't freaking wait. We've got to talk about some of the pitching matchups for this series and any other little kind of storylines that we're looking out for, especially from Jake's point of view for this weekend in just 1 second, because we got to talk about our good friends over at Monarch Money, folks. And let me tell you about Monarch Money. It is a great, fantastic place. You know why? Because most people can't name all their financial accounts or even what they're worth, whether it's 401ks, the properties, investments. And when you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. And that's why Monarch Money is so great. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or your phone. Monarch does the heavy lifting for you. Can link all your accounts in minutes, see clear data, visuals, get smart categorization of your spending, and finally feel in control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet. And it makes it simple to review your finances with your partner. You can both see budgets, goals, spending activity in one place. That way, when you're trying to get away with an extra DoorDash order at night, guess what? Your partner is going to see that. So be careful. All right. But it's going to be really helpful in the long term, guys. Don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50, half off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code LOCKEDONMLB. Go check it out. And just like that, everybody, thriving and vibing to the final segment of this here podcast. My man, Jake Garegnani of CBS 8 Sports joining me. Let's talk about the series in a little bit more detail real quick. Pitching matchups. It was supposed to be
Our sweet
three
prince.
incredible matchups, genuinely. Like, we caught the Dodgers at the right time, and frankly, they caught us at the right time for their pitching schedule. But Michael King was supposed to go up against Clayton Kershaw on Friday night. I mean, that's good stuff. We haven't gotten an official word yet. I haven't seen anything on Twitter as of right now. That's usually where I go to find any sort of updates. But I imagine with potentially Randy Vasquez being called up that he could be the guy to give them, 3 innings and whatnot. Was recalled, yeah, but so according to Dennis Lin, it's still TBA. We'll see what happens, but for now, that is the matchup. Look, Kershaw, once again, not himself, or I'm sorry, not the same version he's been. But this, I have to admit, we're on like year 4, I'm going to say, of Clayton Kershaw being very much past his prime, but still being an effective starter. So this is definitely going to be a guy that if you want someone to turn things around for you in the regular season, I imagine the Dodgers are like, it feels good to be able to be like our guy that has been our guy since 2010, basically, right? That he goes on the mound to face San Diego.
Yeah, and look, he's just a guy who knows how to pitch. The reason that he's been so successful this latter part of his career is that he knows how to get away with it, not having the velocity. I do fully expect the Padres to jump on Clayton, though. If I'm being blatantly honest, I think the way this offense has been playing, the fact that that bottom of the lineup has been retooled, reshaped, and really dominating. I think Clayton's going to have a hard time working his way through that lineup. I've said that before in the past, and it's bitten me, but I think this time around, that again, initially, I here's the thing that game one to me doesn't feel so different anymore because I don't think Michael King was going to throw a ton of innings anyways,
True.
right? So had he been healthy, he only went to 2 innings. What was it, 50 something pitches in the one start he did make. So I don't think he was going to stretch out all of a sudden and throw 110 pitches. He was probably going to be around that 75 pitch mark anyways. So the Padres are probably going to approach this with a very similar plan that they had anyways. Now maybe insert Randy Vasquez or whomever that throws, but they're still probably going to try and go to that approach. And again, the one thing that I've been talking a lot about, Javi, is that this bullpen is so good. It puts so much pressure on the opposing team. They feel that they cannot fall behind, or they feel if the Padres get a 1 or 2 run lead, that now they have to press in every at bat, every inning, because they have to tie that game. Because all of a sudden those horsemen start coming out of the pen, and it's a wrap, dude.
It's funny. We literally can't just call them the Four Horsemen anymore. Shout out Mike Schill. He must be trying really hard to come up with a new nickname, right? You don't want to do Avengers. Now. Yeah, maybe just a Horseman.
The Horseman.
Go with? We'll have to see. You got to ask him when you next talk to him, Jake. Definitely, absolutely. Get us back on that one. But next game of this series, classic, just 2 strikeout artists, Blake Snell and Dylan Cease. Snell kind of just working his way back, but he has pitched like in some extended starts. He's got a 2.37 on the year. Hopefully, it's the version of Blake Snell that is still, you know how he like forgets how to pitch when he first is getting into the season. Like he just completely forgets how to pitch for a little bit. Last few starts, though, August 2nd and August 9th, he went 5 innings, gave up 3 earned runs, but struck out 8. And his last start against the Blue Jays, who have been very good, 5 innings, struck out 10, gave up no runs. So unfortunately, I fear we might be getting the good Blake Snell, but we won't be getting the booze. No. I want to hear the booze at Petco. That's what we need. That's what we deserve. These people out here,
I mean, he won him a Cy Young. I don't think anybody should be booing the Southpaw there.
But it's still.
I think that matchup's interesting because you have 2 arms that are really similar to me, like you mentioned, really high strikeout guys, but guys that really get bit once or twice a game with a pitch that they miss big on that somebody puts out of the yard. So it's like who's going to make that mistake first or who's not going to make that mistake come Saturday night. That's the pitching matchup I'm most looking forward to this entire series. I mean, Snell has been strikeout king, 18 punch outs in his 10 innings back. So I assume it's going to be a lot of trouble in that game to try and get to Blake, but got to take advantage of those, maybe few, if any, missed opportunities he has in that game from Blake Snell and Dylan Cease. We've spent a whole year talking about where he's at. It feels pretty similar, but it also feels like every once in a while he's right there locked in. And I think he'll bring a little extra juice to Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, he's looked good. He's finally had 2 straight starts that were pretty good, Dylan Cease, which is something that's been plaguing him all year, right? He went 6 last time, gave up 2 earned runs, went 5 the previous start, gave up 0 runs, right? So that's nice to see. They're really going to need him to step up, and it might be a little bit of a not an omen, but a little bit something that's useful for the Padres going forward if they were to face the Dodgers in the playoffs. Dylan Cease, a guy who has not been very good in the playoffs in his career. So maybe this is a nice prove-it start for him. So we'll see. And Blake Snell, you got to take advantage, like you said, of maybe the one hanging curveball, or he does walk a lot of guys. He's so good it usually doesn't matter, but he does walk a lot of guys, so hopefully they can pounce on him for that. And then lastly, 2 pitchers that have been battling injuries, a lot. Tyler Glasnow and Yu Darvish. Do not be fooled by Yu Darvish's ERA. He's been excellent over his last 3, 2.81 ERA, and it's not fluky. The FIP is low as well. He's been striking out 30% of batters. Guy's been good. The guy's been good. And frankly, I could see him being the postseason starter to open a series. I could see it because he has this like vibe of being ours somehow now since Musgrove is hurt. I feel like the true like Padre is Musgrove in a lot of ways, but Darvish has that like veteran edge to him. And what else does he do, Jake? He pitches great against what team? What team in his career is he really good at pitching against?
Let me Google that. I think I know the answer to that. In fact, it's relevant to this series, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it is. It's the Dodgers. That's right.
That would be the one. Javi, looks like he's out for blood right now. To me, he has come back so focused, and this guy has so much pride in his craft, and you have seen it like in his past few starts. This dude is vintage, Yu Darvish. He's been really impressive, especially after that first start back. You're like, uh-oh, this might be the beginning of the end. But man, the last couple, he has thrown the ball so well. The shape's coming out of his hands. Everything about Yu Darvish has given me a lot of confidence to finish out the year with him in the rotation.
Absolutely. Across 15 starts and 91 and a third innings, my man is rocking a 2.27 against the Dodgers. Usually I don't care about what a pitcher's career stats are against a team, because then I look around and I'm like, well, Darvish for some reason has a 5.62 against the Marlins. But when it's a division rival, when it's a team that you might be facing a lot with the Dodgers, when it's a team that and he has said in interviews before, like, it really sticks with him and he's a perfectionist. Obviously, the infamous World Series blow up, which we then found out might have been the cause of some behind the scenes chicanery by the Astros, but it was a huge blow up and really did cost a lot, though. So we'll have to see. But like you said, he's out for blood, and he's certainly been out for blood for the Dodgers in his career, man. But Jake, any final kind of things you're looking out for this weekend, whether it be individual players, whether it be, I don't know, drama, whatever it is, what are you looking forward to?
I think there's going to be drama. I think 100%. You know, look out for if anything comes up high and into Fernando, that could start that drama.
Oh man,
but
he's on top of the plate though. To give the Dodger fans a break, I'm gonna break my character for a second of hating them. Tatis is on the plate a lot, so like he does get hit. But anyway, go on.
I'm not saying that people shouldn't throw him up in it. I'm just saying look out for it if it happens. This series is all from a baseball actual play perspective. I think continue to look for the trade deadline pieces to make the difference. They've done it so many times throughout this stretch, and it's the Ramon Laureanos, it's the O'Hearn clutch, home run. It's Freddie Fermin, who's managed this staff unbelievably already. It's Mason Miller coming out pumping 103. Look for those guys to continue what they've done, and even some of the guys that have been on the roster, Jake Cronenworth and stuff like that. I am very, very much looking forward to this series, Javi, and I think the Padres could go on to take at least 2 or 3 from here. They're hitting them at the right time, man. So I'm looking forward to it, and gosh, it's going to be intense, man.
Absolutely. I'm looking for Tatis. This is a guy who rises to the moment. He has not been a slugger all year. He had a great game, right? Like, he's still a good offensive player. He walks all the time, super fast, all that stuff. 2 for 3 the other day, 3 RBIs, 2 walks. Does he have some statement hits, though? This is the type of guy that loves to play in LA. He's done it before. Do we see a little bit of the, oh my gosh, it's that version of Tatis this weekend? That is something to watch out for. But everybody go check out Jake on CBS 8 Sports. Whatever he's doing, you're going to want to follow him. Check him out on the socials as well. Go ahead.
One quick thing before you sign us off. That game for our San Diego audience on Saturday against the Dodgers is on the CW San Diego, our air. I'll be up there. We'll have pregame, postgame coverage. So tune in Saturday, 5:30 p.m. on CW San Diego for free. Watch it for free.
Oh, I'll be tuning in too. I got to see my guy on the big screen. But until that next time, everybody, you've been listening to the Locked On Padres podcast, the only pod that may be better than the Padres themselves. Remember to subscribe to the podcast wherever you get your podcasts from. Follow me on the socials on Twitter /X and Blue Sky at Javipeno, JAVIIPENO. Reach out on there with any of your questions, because next episode is Monday and it will be the Monday mailbag. And I imagine you guys are going to have a lot of questions after this series. Go follow Jake everywhere. Go check out the game on, where was it again? I'm sorry.
CW San Diego, starting at 5:30.
CW San Diego. There we go, for all the local friends and pals out there. Until next time, though, stay safe and, of course, stay faithful. My faithful homies, take care.